This is the new 2014 Niner WFO frame. I ended up getting the frame and building it from the ground up. I chose the components very carefully so I wouldn't have to upgrade any more components down the road. So I'm gonna go on a breakdown, slight breakdown on all the components that I use on this bike. As you can see, it has the new Fox fork. It just came out, 36 by 160 millimeter travel. This bike is set up, or better yet, is capable of using a 170 millimeter travel fork, but at this point the one that has it is RockShox, and I'm really not a fan of that company, to be honest with you. I ended up getting the race face handlebars and the stem because they have the red color. I like Easton better, but Easton is only gold, silver, and black. I also ended up going with the Chris Keen headset, mainly just for the aesthetics, just mainly for the red colors. Ended up, changing the hoses again, just so I don't have to do it in the future. I ended up using the Jaguar red. It does come with the capability of a stealth seat post, dropper post. I ended up using the giant contact dropper post. It's not the best, but it's the most reasonable price. 250 bucks. I ended up actually buying it used from the my bike shop guy. He only used it like a few times, so I ended up just getting his for $1.75. I also, went all out on the brakes. I put the 200 millimeter rotor in the front and the 180 in the rear, and XD, XD everything, to be honest with you. I did the custom made the wheels. They are the stand Flow X, CTR Flow X, and with the DT Swiss hubs, the 240. They're, I'll be honest, I'm a fan of loud hubs, and unfortunately these aren't. I made a mistake, but I'll probably eventually make a set of wheels with the Chris Keen hubs. Ended up going with the Shimano XD Shadow Plus derailleur. I also ended up putting the big jockey wheels on this one because I ended up also going a 1x10, and 1x10 makes a lot of chain guide or chain rub noises because of the chain line not being adequate. But with these jockey wheels, because they tend to flex, they tend to lean, they actually adjust to the chain guide, or I'm sorry, the chain line, so you don't hear chain rub that much at all, to be honest with you. I ended up putting the seat guide nice and red so it can match with the color theme. Ended up going with the 30 tooth chain ring. I'm not really good at uphill, so I kind of got the one in between, between 24 and 36. So I took it for a ride today, and it feels great. Uphill, it's a little slow, to be honest with you, in the speed category. But since I'm not really using this bike for long distance or flat surface, I'm using it for close to down, as much as downhill as I can. It doesn't really hurt me at all, the fact that it's a little slow. Ended up putting the race face red grips, which are very good. I have the orange one here. This is my Giant. You guys seen it before. I changed the Easton handlebars, and because they have orange, and I put the race face handle grips orange, and they're very cool. They're very good. I mean, they're not as thick as I would want them to be, but they do the job. I also ended up going with another ceramic bottom bracket. It's made by Token, and to be honest, is really smooth. I mean, it's a $79 bottom bracket, but for you to find a tri-ceramic bottom bracket for $79, I mean, it is a very good price. The only thing I don't like is the routing. on this bike. It's the routing, because you know what, I came from internal routing to start routing it in this bike. Keep in mind, I did the job myself. I assembled it myself. Again, that's the one that I usually had, that I started with, and I upgraded everything myself. So I felt comfortable in going, doing this bike from the ground up. Just assemble it myself, everything, the fork and I did everything pretty much myself. I have to confess, I had the professional do the fork. I figure, you know what, I'll do everything. I'll do the C-post, I'll do the routing, I'll do the bleeding, I assemble the whole thing. But when it came to the fork, it's a $1,200 fork. The last thing I need to do is fuck it up. So I took it to my local bike shop. I gave him 65 bucks, and he freaking did it himself. He cut it, pressed the headset. Saying he used tools that I don't have, and that I would have to buy just for this job. I'm not a bike shop. I'm not a bike. I own plenty of bikes, but in due time I'll probably get the tools. But at this point, there was no sense of me getting it. So another key point that I want to point out on these new forks that Fox is coming out with on the 2015, this is the adjustment. This is the adjustment, and they don't have the CTD anymore. They have slow rebound compression, slow compression, and high speed compression. They have two little knobs that you adjust, the one in the center and the one on the side, and the talus is on the left side, and you also adjust the rebound in the bottom. It's a little bit complicated, I'll be honest, man. I'm used to the 3-step, climb, descent, and trail. It's easy, but this one you have to freaking tune it. It's a little quirky. The bike came with the rock shock. I will be upgrading that shock hopefully next week or next month. I want to use it, but I prefer Fox, so I will be ordering that shock as soon as I can. The total build for this bike, and that's me buying parts from Chain Reaction, Amazon, Planet Cyclery, a whole bunch of places, and saving a ton of money. The total bill is $6,250, give or take 50 bucks. But like I said, if you want a bike that you can own for a long time, and only need to upgrade the shock, and that's because you feel like it, that's because you prefer Fox over RockShox. But the shock itself, I took it for a short ride today because it was raining, so I didn't want to freaking get poured over, so I only did 2 miles on a little bit of rough terrain, and it handled beautiful. I'll be honest with you, the characteristics of this bike itself, it makes you feel that you're riding a 27.5 or even a 26. That's how short it makes you feel that the bike is. I mean, you're literally like, compared to that bike is a Giant Trans X1 large. This is the Niner WFO large. That one is like a low rider. That one is so stretched out. The seat post, you see how it's leaning to the rear. I mean, you're looking at maybe 15 degrees leaning to the rear, and this seat post is actually 10 degrees or maybe even less compared to that one. You see the seat post, both comparison. This one makes you feel like you literally need a longer stem. I got a 65 millimeter stem on this one, and on the other one, and this one, it makes you feel like you can use a 90 millimeter stem and get the same characteristics of that Giant over there. So I guess because of the geometry of the fork, the fact that it has longer travel, it makes you feel like the handlebars are just a little bit closer to you, maybe half an inch to an inch. So just so footnote, just so you guys can keep that in mind. But the bike itself is awesome. again, solid. No no more cable noise. Like that's one of the things that I hated about the Giant. Is just every time the bike can be as quiet as it can be, and if you go over a little pebble, you hear the freaking wire hitting the internals, and that drove me crazy. With this one, everything's external. Now that, like I said, the only thing that I don't like about this one is that the shifter, which is right here, the one that I have it, a 1x10, the shifter, you run it and you loop it on the side right here. You don't go towards the other side, you go towards the right. You know what I'm saying? Which is weird because it's like a little loop right here, and then it goes all the way in the bottom. That's kind of like, it threw me off a little bit. And then you have the seat post, the dropper post. You have that wire going towards the left, and also the brakes going towards the left. And the front normally goes to the front, but then over here you can route two wires at the same time, and you see it goes all the way down the bottom. This one goes over here towards the seat post internally, stealth, and then over here goes right next to the shock, and then it goes all the way to the back. Again, you know, but I'll tell you one thing about Niner that I really enjoyed: the fact that they offer a 1-800 number. You can call them if you have any questions, and you can just say, hey, you know, how is this works? How am I supposed to route this? And they'll, you know, they won't answer the phone. I'll be honest with you. You have to leave them a message, and you just have to say, listen, my name is so and so. I just purchased a frame for you guys. I really need a question answered. And they'll call you either a few hours later or even the next day. But at least they call you, and at least they offer a 1-800 number. Unlike freaking Giant, they don't even have an address where you can mail them fuck you notice, you know, because sometimes you just have to say that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know if I gave you any ideas for your future build or anything like that, but again, this is the 2014, you know, Niner WFO, the new model, and it is a gorgeous, strong, and solid bike. And I hope that, again, I gave you an idea of what to do with your bikes if you ever want to get a WFO, or if you're wondering how does it look up close, that's how it is. Anyway, so thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any comments or if you like it, you know, appreciate a like.